Hello, hello. We finally made it. This is part 4 of Anatomy of a Gay Man, my story, my journey. And it's also my twin flame journey, which is also my soulmate journey, which is also my sacred union with spirit back to source of God. When I went through everything that I have gone through from the time that I was a sensitive boy who had to become the distorted masculine to see that I was actually a gay man living in the visual and perception of another's distorted insecurities, I became the abused version, but also the healed version in the gay world, which allowed me to become another level of source that reached my divine feminine energy. But because I was not ever a woman, nor do I want to be, I had to learn through energetic imprinting from my mother and women around me of what a true feminine person was. And then when I saw other gay men who were feminine, again, I didn't understand it, so I didn't like it, just like everyone else. But then when I realized you don't like it because you're actually feminine. And when I thought feminine, does that mean I got to dress a certain way or be a certain way? It scared the crap out of me. So I would try to find people who were like feminine, but they hid it, and they were like masculine, and that's what we call it, the beard. Has anyone noticed the phenomenon of us all growing our beards? I love to see facial hair. I think it's sexy as hell. But to use a beard as a way to hide behind who you are and to say that that's masculine is another way of shutting down the creative energy. If you're not truly growing it just because you think it's beautiful and you love it for what it does and just the simple fact of nature. So because of that, when I moved from Chicago, which was where I learned how to truly be my masculine, but a distorted version of it. Being a black gay man, 6'4" in Chicago was a scary ass life. I've been told many a time, nigga, you too tall. I don't care if you gay or not. I will shoot you, bro. You too big to fight. Right there, I learned the power of my masculine, which is my shell. And then my creativity was feminine energy, which was very fluid and intellectual and on the point, and I could always have an answer to everything. So when I met women, women were like, oh, you energetically meet me. And then they wanted to abuse my energy. They wanted me to be with them. Are you sure you're not gay? Ugh, I wish you were a real man. I am a real man, have always been a real man, and I do not like that term. But that was when I noticed the distorted feminine. That's the distorted feminine. To tell a man because he's gay, he's not a real man. I've watched plenty of women say this, like, well, you know what I mean. Oh, because I don't want to have sex with you, I'm not a real man. That's where the distorted feminine energy took over. And I learned that within the gay world, it was still something we were fighting because we were just kids from these same homes of just learning how to be a sociable, functional human being. And then we're thrown into all these subcategories of who we are. And then once if we're not the cheerleader or the jock or all this, then the gay kid was the standalone kid in every movie. Trust me, there's the jock, the cheerleaders, the gay kid. There's not too many of us, but there was always plenty of us, but we were hidden. So I saw the most outgoing, beautiful feminine men always accomplishing their dreams, always being adorned upon and loved. And I never understood, why can't they be who they are and I can't be who I am? And that was the moment of, ha ha, who said you couldn't be loved? I said, well, what about this or what about that? That's conditioning, love. No one ever said you couldn't accept someone who didn't understand. But now that you're old enough to actually wipe your own ass, who says that you can't wear fingernail polish? Who says that you can't wear tight clothes? Who says that you can't talk about love and life and want to talk about your family and all this? Beyond gay, that doesn't make anyone anything except a nurturing being. And I had to learn how, through my feminine energy, simply being attracted to a man that had to be taller than me, which is not hard to find. I'm 6'4", and I've met plenty of men who are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", honey, they exist. But they taught me something. They turned out to be what in the gay world we demonize, which is just another form of patriarchal, which is, oh, they're a bottom. They can't, oh, the tall bottom. Oh, what are they worth? That is the most disrespectful thing ever to think. Because of their stature, they're supposed to dominate you and take over. And then you wonder why some guy has this image in his head of like pinning you down and taking control of you, because it's been a sexualized fetish on so many levels. I've had more straight men and straight women tell me they want me to pin them down and do my whatever with them because they think it's hot, because they think I'm attractive. That is something that's conditioned into our society, which needs to go away as well. When I was able to break out of this conundrum of thinking I needed to be not just masculine or not just feminine, but literally carrying both my feminine and masculine energies, walk into the world knowing what the hell I want, saying what I want, saying who I am, stating that I'm gay and I'm here and I'm this and I'm that. That was my masculine energy. Creation, writing, talking, speaking, being available through my nurturing energy, that was my feminine. And I combine those two. I have learned over time how to combine these two, which again, I've always saw my visions from a different level of viewing and dimensional thinking, but the chakras were not aligned. This is when spirituality falls into place. This is when you start really saying, wow, I'm dual energies. Then you start seeing the duality in all life. And then you're capable of seeing this connect with this to bore this to create this, and now you got this. You know what I mean? If you are able to slow down enough in life to not have to worry about providing something that you have yet to provide to yourself that is not the replication of your parents, and creating something that you gave to yourself through experience and knowledge and wisdom, not given to you through ancestors' sweat, tear, and death, because that's where it comes from. Everyone, we talk about how people die as if it's a story, but someone lost their life. Someone felt the pain of that at one point in time, and that energy exists still to this day. So we have to recognize when we tell a story, the implied intent of what we're giving, not just the contextual information, but the actual emotional content, which makes the story painted before us. This is where movies come from. This is where books come from. This is where textbooks come from. This is where science books come from. It doesn't matter if you believe science is a structural thing that is not creation, has facts. It is still someone taking the time to be creative enough to pay attention to the beauty in nature and the ebb and flow of the masculine and feminine working together to bore a seed that makes something that is tangible for us to watch and grow. This takes us into that journey of connection, which is now a soul journey. And if you say, I am ready to be on a spiritual soul journey, then that means you are connecting to your soul mate, which is yourself mirrored into one, which becomes two if you do it correctly. Now, it took me a long time, and there's plenty of videos out here on the twin flame soulmate journey and the twin flame this and twin flame that. The twin flame is simply you at the vibration of understanding that you are. And it's also your past lives. And it's also the energy that you used to be based on what you were told to be. I was told I was a big man and all this stuff, so I've always sought having a bigger man than me. Didn't matter if they were a good person or not. You have to be bigger than me because that makes me feel safe tangibly. Because as a 6'4" man, I've never really hugged the way I want to be hugged because I always felt like I had to hold someone else and protect them. And then when I met shorter men, they had this Napoleon complex where they wanted to conquer me sexually. It was never about who I was. So I thought that if I was with someone bigger, it would balance me out. That's not true either. So I had to go through that energy. And then I would meet men where I was like, okay, well, if I'm feminine, maybe I should try to be with a feminine man. Well, it wasn't about femininity. It was about vulnerability and being nurturing. Because I would meet a man who was feminine, and then they would think because they were more feminine, which they were taught, if I'm the girl, then I don't have to try, which is the society that little boys are taught. Girls can be taught it too, but they believe that's their world, and that's not just their world either. That's a whole nother level of the divine feminine walking into her glory out of being told that she can't be masculine. Anyone is masculine energy and we all have it. Anyone is feminine energy and we all have it. But until I recognized the two were one is when I started seeing that, oh, Joanne, you always say you 6'4" and all this stuff, but you attract men and women. And they always tell me like, bro, you such a dude. And women are like, oh, you're so sexy. I wish you were straight. I am the masculine energy on the outside, but I'm the feminine energy on the inside. And for me, it took me so long to finally see that my true soulmate is a divine feminine on the outside and a divine masculine on the inside. Because in order to be that feminine, you know how to protect someone else's femininity. And in order to be that masculine, you have to know how to protect someone else's masculinity. Because it's all about expression of self in the end anyways. It's not about who can dick somebody down or take somebody man or all this crap. Never been about that, but we've been given that paradigm of thinking for so long, and it needs to be broken and stopped. This is why I went through everything that I've gone through. The 34 years I've been on this earth, going on to 35, going from a 12-12 portal that happens in the next day or two into a new year of synchronicity 2020, that I've learned how to truly balance who I am and what I need, because as above, so below is what you will always become and attract. So when I've learned to do this type of shadow work, this pathology of energy work, is when I truly learn how to step into myself as a confident individual who's able to speak with clarity and never back down from anyone else's inability to state what they really mean versus what they're trying to imply and imprint on someone else. This is the union of soulmate, twin flame, and then divine union. Anyone can choose to be whatever they want. I always say the twin flame relationship is like a teenager relationship. You're just trying to learn who you are through each other. And you can become soulmates through that, which is when people say it takes a lot of work. And then you get there and you realize we've been taking the freaking stairs the whole time and we could have took the elevator. But there's some people who they want to take the elevator and they want to skip past the work of the stairs. It's interchangeable. Sometimes you got to split off and come back together, but you have to respect it together. Now there's people like me where I took the stairs and the elevator. And I would meet people who only took the stairs who never understood the elevator. And I would take people who took the elevator, never understood the stairs. And I'd be like, why can't I find my balance, my match, who I am? And I would try to settle, never worked. I would try to hide myself, never worked. And this is when I was like, you have to be the divine energy that you're meant to be, because this is how you attract the energy that you're supposed to have in your life. Once I understood this concept, this is when the types of jobs I wanted came along. This is when the types of friends and tribe I wanted came along. This is when the type of health and understanding of why it's important to take care of this vessel, which is the one we get to energetically experience this world, is why I became this person, so that I can give back to you guys and you can learn how to get this without going through all of the struggles that are necessary to learn who we are. Because the struggles are necessary, but they don't have to be that hard. We don't have to be handed one tool at a time. All we simply have to be given is the toolbox and say, now go create. No expectations, no explanations. You do you, boo-boo, and make sure that you do it correctly to the fullest extent without nobody trying to tell you shit about yourself. Because when you do that, you start to take on unhealed timelines of energy from someone else's paradigm that don't exist in yours. And then you create a reality that's not even there yet through quantum creation, and then you tangibly make it real through the physical form, which puts the masculine energy on it and says, now it's real. Now I own you. No one owns you. Nothing owns you. You create because you love, you fix because you love, you protect because you love, you nurture because you love, because we are love. And when you become love within yourself, guess what? You love yourself. And when you love yourself, guess what? You attract love from people who want to love you back. And guess what? Then you attract the family and the jobs and the careers and the desires and everything you want. This is what celebrities are. Celebrities are empaths who made it to this level of understanding. But guess what, celebrities? I got something for you. They get to that level of now what? Well, now what, baby? Now you got to start thinking about being an elder, because your eldership is here. When you see that you have given back in a way that is tangibly not there for most people, then you start to recognize that, I need to get ready for my next assertion in life, which is to be a teacher, to be a voice of leaders, to teach leaders, to help us help the next generation be prepared for the next generation so they're prepared for the next. This is what this whole journey has been about. Each of us has a mission and each of us has a duty, and we will energetically have been aligned with them since we stepped onto this earth, out of our mother's wombs, out into the playing field, wherever we are, wherever we come from. Your soul path is always being directly connected to the functionality in life that you give it. When you recognize this and you own this, you own your masculine, which says, I have more worth than my body. You own your feminine, which says, I have more worth than my mind. You put the two together and you are able to create in love, and out of love always comes love. It is time. It is time. I love you. Thank you.